On the morning of December 1st, 1948, a man's body was discovered on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. He was well-dressed, in a suit and tie, with polished shoes, his head resting against a seawall. There were no signs of a struggle, no obvious cause of death. He carried no identification. His pockets held a few ordinary items: an unused train ticket, a bus ticket, a comb, some chewing gum, but the labels on his clothing had been meticulously cut out. Who was this man, and how did he die? This is the story of the Somerton Man, one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. The initial police investigation hit a dead end almost immediately. Nobody reported a man matching his description missing. His fingerprints didn't match any records in Australia or any English-speaking country. The autopsy hinted at poisoning, likely from a fast-acting substance like foxglove, but no traces of poison were ever found. The coroner's final report was inconclusive, stating he was unable to say what had killed the man. The case was getting stranger by the minute. He was a ghost, a man with no past, and a very mysterious end. Months went by. The police were stumped. Then, in January 1949, a suitcase was found at the Adelaide railway station, checked into the cloakroom the day before the body was discovered. Inside was a collection of clothing, and guess what? All the identification tags had been removed, just like the clothes on the body. A tailor's mark on a coat was traced back to America, but it didn't lead to an owner. A stenciling brush, a sharpened knife in a sheath, and a particular type of orange thread not common in Australia were also found. This thread perfectly matched the thread used to repair a pocket on the Somerton Man's trousers. The suitcase was his, but it only deepened the mystery. It told police what he had, not who he was. The investigation took its most famous turn several months later. Professor John Cleland, the pathologist who examined the body, re-examined the man's clothes. He found a hidden pocket in his pants with a tiny rolled-up paper inside. On it were two printed words: Tamam Shud. What did Tamam Shud mean? Police were baffled until a local librarian identified the phrase. It's a Persian expression, meaning it is ended or it is finished. These words are the final words from a famous collection of poems called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. This was a massive clue. The police think the Somerton Man ripped that note from a specific book. A nationwide appeal was launched, asking the public to search for a copy of the Rubaiyat with the last page torn out. And incredibly, a man came forward. He told the police he found a rare first edition of the Rubaiyat in his unlocked car near Somerton Beach. He hadn't thought much of it at the time and had just tossed it into his glove compartment. After seeing the police appeal, he checked the book, and sure enough, the final page with the words Tamam Shud was missing. The microscopic check confirmed it was the exact book the slip came from. Inside the back cover of this book, written in pencil, were 5 lines of capital letters that looked like a code, with one line crossed out. It looked like a weird coded note, just groups of capital letters in neat lines, no real words or clear meaning at all. To this day, the world's best cryptographers, from military intelligence to amateur sleuths, have been unable to crack this code. Is it a secret message? A list of meaningless letters? The first letters of a forgotten poem? No one knows. This code remains one of the most baffling parts of the entire puzzle. But the book held another secret. Faintly written alongside the code was a phone number. This was a breakthrough. The number belonged to a woman named Jessica Thompson, a nurse who lived just a short walk from Somerton Beach where the body was found. When police showed her a plaster cast of the Somerton Man's face and bust, her reaction was described as completely taken aback, to the point where she seemed like she was about to faint. But she denied knowing him. She denied any connection to the man or the case. Jessica Thompson told police that she had once owned a copy of the Rubaiyat and had given it to a man named Alfred Boxall during World War II. This seemed like a promising lead. Was Alfred Boxall the Somerton Man? The police thought they had finally solved the case. They tracked down Alfred Boxall, who was very much alive and living in Sydney. And when they asked him about the book, he produced his copy of the Rubaiyat, a different edition, complete with Jessica Thompson's inscription to him. And most importantly, the last page with Tamam Shud was still intact. So, the dead man wasn't Alfred Boxall. The trail went cold again. Jessica Thompson, often referred to by the pseudonym Jestin in early reports, remained cagey. She was married and seemed eager to avoid any scandal. She was cooperative with the police, but offered little information, and her story about the book never fully added up. Why was she so shocked? Did she know more than she was letting on? Her behavior only added to the speculation that the case was tied to spying activities, a secret code, a mysterious stranger, poison, and a botched spy meeting. It's thrilling. Was the Somerton Man a secret agent, perhaps from a Soviet bloc country, who was silenced on Australian soil? This theory has been popular for decades, but there's never been any hard evidence to support it. For over 70 years, the Somerton Man lay in a grave in Adelaide under a headstone that read, "Here lies the unknown man who was found at Somerton Beach." He was a complete enigma, but in recent years, technology has offered a new hope. In 2021, after years of campaigning by researchers, the Somerton Man's body was dug up. The goal was to extract a DNA profile from his remains, a feat that was impossible back in the 1940s. A professor from the University of Adelaide named Derek Abbott had become fascinated by the case. He believed that Jessica Thompson's son, Robin, who was born in 1947, might actually be the Somerton Man's son. Robin had some rare genetic traits, including specific ear and tooth structures that were identical to the Somerton Man's. It was a long shot, but Abbott teamed up with a renowned American genealogist, Colleen Fitzpatrick. Using hairs that had been trapped in the original plaster death mask, they managed to build out a DNA sequence. It was a painstaking process. From there, they began the massive task of building a family tree, using public DNA databases to find distant relatives. After years of work, tracing back through thousands of names, they finally closed in on one person. In July 2022, Derek Abbott announced a major breakthrough. He was confident he had identified the Somerton Man. His name, he claimed, was Carl Charles Webb. Webb was an electrical engineer and instrument maker, born in 1905 in a suburb of Melbourne. He seemed like an ordinary guy, living a pretty normal life. He was married, but his wife had moved to a different state, and records suggest he may have been trying to track her down. He loved poetry and even wrote some, which explains his link to the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. This identification, while widely reported, is still being officially confirmed by South Australian authorities. But if it is correct, it changes everything. The Somerton Man wasn't a Russian spy or a mysterious foreigner. He was an Australian man named Carl Webb. But even with a name, the questions don't stop. Why did he travel to Adelaide? Why did he remove the tags from his clothes and carry no ID? What does the code mean? And most importantly, how did he die? Was it suicide? Was it an accident? Or was he murdered? The story of Carl Charles Webb, the man we knew for so long as the Somerton Man, shows that sometimes the truth is less like a spy novel and more like a quiet tragedy. A man seemingly disconnected from his family, traveling under a cloak of anonymity, meeting a silent end on a lonely beach. We may now have his name, but the mystery of his final days, the meaning of the coded message, and the secret behind those final words. Tamam Shud means it's over. Secrets he might have taken to his grave. What do you think happened to the Somerton Man? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Some mysteries never fade. They just wait to be uncovered. See you in the next one. Only here on Forgotten Clues.